Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Passing Money. You know who it is. Alex over there, Kirby here. Alex, today we're going to talk about disrespectful offers. Disrespectful offers. We always, we get in a group setting. We were just with some people last week, and we talk about disrespectful offers. Of course, they think we're criminal. That's because we because they think that the list price is the value of a property, and then we say no, that's not. But uh, disrespectful offers. What's your concept and mindset of giving a disrespectful offer to a prospective seller of a rental property?
Um, by mindset, like, what do you mean? Like, what am I thinking going into making the offer? Or
Hmm. Right.
so when I see the list price, obviously I know I don't want to pay the list price first off. And then what I'm looking at to come up with my offer is how much work do I think it needs based off of the pictures provided. And then after that, I ask the seller or the selling agent questions about, like, if they know how old the roof is, if they know how old the AC. And I ask about the water tank, but I know water tanks aren't, like, it's probably number three on that list. um and depending on the age of those, if I know if I'm gonna have to replace them in a few years or not, that might go into making my offer as well. But it's that plus checking what price I need for the ROI to make sense. So I would say I get that information first, get an idea of how much that's going to cost, and then put into the rental calculator, plug that cost into the calculator along with how much I'm putting down, a rough idea on what the interest rates are going to be, all that data, and then trying to get to an ROI of at least 10% cash on cash return. And if it doesn't hit 10%, I'm going all the way till it hits 10%, and that's my offer. And then if they accept it or not, I mean, that's up to them, but I'm throwing the offer out there. Um, And I mean, obviously, there's room for negotiation. If it gets close, like, let's say the ROI is at 8%, I know it's still a good return. And if the other thing I'll ask is, okay, if it's tenant occupied, when is their lease up? So I know, okay, I'm gonna have 8% for X amount of months, or just for this month maybe, and I can renew the lease at a higher rate and then get the return I want. So there's that factor too.
Perfect. Perfect, perfect. Yeah, and that's exactly it. People think that when we say disrespectful offers, you're just looking at the MLS or looking at Zillow or you're looking at Redfin or whatever platform you use, and it just simply you see a property on there, and let's say it's going for 200,000, we just be like, oh, all right, we're gonna offer them 150. Just call them up straight out the gate, 150. And then
Yeah.
you're gonna get laughed
Yeah.
out of the room every time you do that. This is not an auction house.
Right.
The thing is, Alex, you said it perfectly. You reach out to them and ask them the questions. Asking them the questions, let them know that you're interested. And once you ask them the questions, they're gonna be like, oh, they're looking at the things that's gonna cost them the most to replace. So now they're interested. And then you work in the numbers. When you give in these offers, you got to make offers that make sense. Of course, also implementing what interest rate that you're going to have to pay for them. And all that stuff that goes into, like you said, a rental calculator to get your ROI or cash on cash return that you're looking for. I mean, if people want to know why Alex say his hurdle rate is, 8-10%, is because he wants to at least match or beat the S&P 500. That's why. I mean, some people your hurdle rate might be lower. Like the only thing that you know is a high yield savings account is 5%. So you willing to take on some risk. So yours might, still be in the 8-9% range for cash on cash return. If you're gonna take on a risk, if you want to be risk free, then just put your money in a, high yield savings account. But if you take an ROI or cash on cash return that's less than a high yield savings account, what is the point of taking on the risk? Because contrary to popular belief, There is risk in real estate. You will get tenants that won't pay. Things will break. So you got to have that buffer so you can understand your finances and how they will work for you. Anybody that think that they're going to get in real estate and then they're going to have the perfect tenants and the perfect property and nothing's going to break, you're sadly mistaken. But when you're giving these disrespectful offers, don't just sit there and just call people and just throw out numbers. This is not COVID days. The COVID days are over where people just throw out a number and just hope that it's the highest, best, the highest offer, and then you just do it. There's actual work that goes into the reason why you give these disrespectful offers. And that's something that I think is amiss. And when we say numbers, it's we saying it based on the knowledge of all the things that we know that's going to have to go into the property. Damn what they want for it, because they want to sell it more than you need to buy it. So you keep doing the work, doing the research, finding out the numbers, then you keep giving disrespectful offers. And then eventually one's going to stick. But if you just call somebody and just say a disrespectful number, they're going to be like, no. But if you can call them, ask the questions, and you can articulate why you're giving them that offer, then you have a way higher likelihood of them accepting the offer. Way higher likelihood. I remember a guy, I called the guy. This was a property, I believe it was in Georgia. I called the guy and I said, hey, I will give you your asking price if you give me seller finance. And then I explained to him why I would, want to use seller finance instead of bank financing, because, X, Y, and Z, I see some things, but I know he probably wants his number, so it'll work out best for both of us. I think the property was in the 185 range. And then, of course, after we got on the contract, I would have brought it down. But either way, that's neither here nor there. And then so the real estate agent, his agent, took it back to him, and he was an out-of-state investor. And then, but I gave him two offers. I gave him the seller finance offer, then I gave him the conventional finance offer. And the conventional finance offer, it was at 185. And then I said, running the numbers to get my return, I'll need it at 152. And then the agent said, hey, he appreciates your offer. He understands where you're coming from, but the house only been on the market for, I believe, 15 days, and he's still trying to get his 185 number. I said, perfect. I didn't tell him my offer was going to be good for forever. So I just said, perfect. Okay, whatever. And then I happened to look up that property is still on the market. Now we're 45 to 50 days in. Now that same property is listed at 139. I still ain't made an offer on it. Now I just want to see how low it'll go. Because now even at 139, you can't get somebody to buy it for 139. So now my offer be a lot less on the conventional side. So that's how it is. But people think, so now people think that the 185 was the value of the house, and people would pay 185. They thought I was criminal for offering 152. Now he has listed at 139. So who is the crazy person? That's what goes into the whole disrespect offer concept. Alex, you got something?
No, I'm just waiting for you to finish. But yeah, I got something.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
If I'm speaking with the seller or the seller agent and we're going back and forth, and then I come back with what my final offer is, and I know it might be way off, I explain to them, especially now with interest rates where they are right now, you can still find deals, but the numbers have to work for you as the buyer. So interest rates make it a little bit harder to get that 1% rule. So you kind of have to cut under. And, I'll just explain, I'm looking for this, I'm taking the risk of the tenant is still in this lease until, next year. So you want to make all your points known as to why you're making the offer, and not just you're just coming out. We say disrespectful offer, and it really is, but like we're trying to put a bow tie on it and make it look pretty, and it's really not. But we have to explain, or articulate why, hey, this is why we need this price, because it's just not going to work. We're not going to take the risk from the seller not doing the work he should have, such as raising the rents, doing repairs. We're not going to take the risk sitting on a negative 4% cash on cash return at the price he wants for X amount of months until we can get the leases renewed and then do all the work. Like, no, we have to bring the price to what we want, because honestly, it's a it's competition. It's, the seller, the other investor should have done the work, and that's where I think, I've mentioned before, you start to see a lot of slumlords, all these properties that are rented out, why are they up for sale? If it was doing good, you wouldn't have to sell it. But then you find out, they just don't have the money to take care of the property. They don't have the courage or whatever you want to call it to speak to the tenant and let them know, hey, I need to increase rents, but I'm going to better the property for your living condition while increasing rents. So it's just, at the same time, it's not like we feel bad making these offers because, they should have done their part as the landlord as well.
Right. And going to your part about the landlord and and it's a competition. You said, maybe there's some lords, or maybe they just bought the property wrong. They didn't run the numbers. They bought the property wrong, or they was looking on social media and everybody's telling them, especially during the COVID days, everybody just need to buy a rental property. So they just went out and bought the property, and then or based on projected pro forma spreadsheets that was way inaccurate about what the rental rate will be in 2 years from now, and the rents never got there. you know and then again, the risk that you take on. So you pay the price that they want, and then now it's time for rent renewal, and then the tenant that's already in there, they can't afford the new higher rents. So now that tenant got to move out. You got to pay hundreds to thousands of dollars to get that property back up to snuff to get to the rental rates that you are. So all that is things that a lot of, and it's crazy, a lot of quote unquote real estate investors, especially in the mom and pop landscape, they don't run the numbers. They don't look at what's around the corner, what potential problem. They just see it and say, oh, I need to get a rental property. And then they realize after, a couple of years that this thing ain't working out. And then now I got to try to sell it and get a profit. It wasn't working out for you at the price that you bought it. So now you want to try to sell it for a profit and put it on somebody else so they can deal with it. So that is the reason behind disrespectful offers. And it's more slumlord or bad landlords out there than there are good ones, in my view.
With all that being said, guys, if you have any questions or comments, let us know down below. Don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.